Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DBR on CBR. That is right. It is time once again for your favorite time of the week. It is time for Dragon Ball Rewatch. And if you are watching along, make sure you are watching on Hulu and Crunchyroll. And if you are reading along, like my literary friends out there are, you can read the Viz Media translation. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John, and we are diving into episode 17, Milk Delivery. What a name! This aired in Japan on June 18th, 1986. In America, this has two premiere dates. It was originally scheduled to air on September 11th, 2001, and it was one of the shows broadcasting during the 9/11 attacks. So
Oh,
the episode got cut off because everywhere went to Rolling News, whoever their affiliate Rolling News was. Places that were going to get it later in the day just didn't get it at all because everyone was still doing news updates. The episode was then re-shown in a double bill with the next episode on September 12th. But yeah, this episode has a weird position in history because of that. It was one of those shows broadcasting and it was cut off.
That's wild. I did not know that.
I didn't
Yeah,
remember that. Yeah. I mean,
you can find footage of it being cut off online. I recommend it's a very interesting thing to see. But yeah, we're adapting one chapter called Milk Run, fitting. And the plot, yeah, Goku and Krillin are starting their training and finding that Roshi isn't the trainer you think he is. And we're going to get our first World Martial Arts Tournament hints.
love it. I love it.
I'm so excited.
We just dive right into that because I love how unsubtle the exposition dump for the World Martial Arts Tournament is.
Fun fact here too for the it kind of threw me for a loop when they were describing it because they're like, yeah, it's once every 5 years. I forgot that after this tournament, they then announced that they reschedule it to once every three. So
Oh.
so yeah, and the Funimation dub, they're like, yeah, it's every 5 years. And it's like, oh, I don't remember Goku competing at 17. I thought but then I was like, oh, that's right. They advance it because it's so popular because of the Jackie Chun Goku fight that they like, oh, yo, let's do this more often.
Yeah, it gets really good, so now we want more of it.
It's interesting to me that because they said this is the 22nd tournament, correct? Like, or the 23rd.
21st.
The
21st.
21st. So this tournament's been going on for a long time, like over a century, if you really think about it, like every 5 years.
Yeah, if it maintained that schedule, I mean that would be 105 World Martial Arts tournaments. Who knows if one was thrown off by the rise of King Piccolo? Who knows?
Got rescheduled.
I, Before we get into the training stuff, I do want to just point, there's that lovely little moment with Launch and Goku in the beginning where like she wakes up and tucks him back in and gives him a little kiss. Like I know it's part of the
I
episode recap, but it's so cute.
I love that because again, it's weird because it feels like they're setting up a found family with Roshi as the father figure and Launch as the mother, but we never do that. What I love about that scene is that she does all that. She kisses Goku, she's like, "Oh, he's so cute." Then she's like, "I hope I don't sneeze in the night." It's like, wow, way to bring this to a dark place, Launch.
I mean, I do love it also kind of as a more sensitive viewer in the 21st century. It is a relief that, it's Goku sleeping with Launch and not Roshi or I guess Krellin, who's also a bit of a pervert.
Yeah, we get some great perversion because Roshi says he wanted to but didn't because they only had two blankets and won't be in the same room as her because of her head cold, which is fair. But then we learn that Roshi's house has keyholes on interior doors.
That scene triggered a JoJo memory in me. Where
You can get
in
medication for that.
yeah, in the second part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, there's that whole scene where Joseph is looking through the keyhole at Lisa, not knowing that that's his mom, and because they're pretty contemporaneous manga wise, and I'm just having that moment of like, was there just a thing in Japan where everybody was looking through these keyholes at women?
Yeah, so I was like, is this me being weird or were keyholes on interior doors? Because even you realize, is Roshi's house laid out like a share house? Because that would make sense if Turtle has his own room that the bedrooms lock. But I don't know, it raises questions about the layout of this house, and I'm
Also,
not going to try and answer them.
yeah, also it's a capsule house. It's I always assumed it was a little more modern than it's kind of humble presentation because it's designed to be taken on the road. I do like that it's the first time that Launch gets any significant pushback, which happens in the manga as well when, Goku's like, you know what, you're not being nice and just, don't hit people, kids, but just clocks her right in the face.
Just kicked her in the
Ryder
face.
kicks her right in the face. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
Yeah.
then Roshi being like, you should be nicer to girls. Also, Goku did refer to her as sir, which I thought was very funny, where he's like, no, sir. And it's like,
It's
okay.
nice to see that joke sort of come back in the Goku can't tell genders come back in dialogue because this isn't the first time he's shown it like to a main character. He's done it too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Can we also talk about so Roshi when Nausicaa's out cold, Roshi comes in and tries to touch her breast while telling Goku you should fight, you should be kinder to girls. But for a brief moment, for a brief, glorious moment, he starts sounding like Matt Berry for some reason.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
walks today.
I always loved Mike McFarlane's performance as Roshi, though, and it's something that I've loved in Dragon Ball. I mean, you don't get a lot of it in Z or GT, certainly not GT. But then he brings it back around in Super, and you know, it's just one of those. And we're about to get a lot of Roshi. I mean, we're in the midst of getting a lot of Roshi. But yeah, it is that one moment where there's like a bit of chivalry, and then but Roshi can't ever help himself because he's Roshi. Um,
I
he's gonna peek through a peephole, and just the sight of it is gonna make his nose bleed.
I do also love the way he tries to play it off when he's like going for like that poke and he's like, oh yeah, the wind, it's perfect for and Goku's just staring at him because why would you try to play this off for Goku? He doesn't know.
Yeah, the barometer pressure's low. Goku doesn't know what a bath is. He certainly does not know what a barometer is.
Yeah. The training regimen itself, in which gets built on in next week's episode, but this episode, we kind of see that, you know, it's very kind of kung fu film, like, you know, certainly Karate Kid, if you want to keep it to Japan. And it's unorthodox training. I'm not going to necessarily, I'm going to teach you how to punch and throw kicks and build speed and strength without actually teaching you how to do those things. And I mean, the image of when I think of these guys training, I think of them running around in 50-pound turtle shells carrying crates of milk. Is it goat milk? We don't really know.
I love that little goat character, by the way. I think the voice acting on that goat character is so good. Like something about that adorable little like goat milk salesman, just I love that. It's so cute, and I don't know why it
I
just spoke to me.
He's so much fun. I love his confusion at the whole thing. Well, he's like, I'm certainly yeah, he's gonna give up his word to let his two children do it, but he's still worried about them and wants them to use the helicopter. Can we point out that goat is the most badass creature in the planet? Because even with the helicopter, this milk run would be deadly. Because he can't land near many of these houses when we see them from above. So he's either having to land and run, or there's like two of them, and one of them like drops out to put the milk down, like Mission Impossible style. Like this would be the most dangerous milk delivery job in the world.
Yeah, especially the monk's like house on top of a mountain, you
I
know?
I love the monk and his voice, by the way. I want him to read all the audiobooks. Audible, if you can track
Yeah.
him down. He just sounds so nice.
I I also really like that moment, like speaking of the monk and like when they're climbing the stairs and when Goku getting so happy and inspired when Master Roshi mentions that his grandpa and the Ox King did this exact same thing and they never complained, and that gives him that like second breath of air because grandpa can do it, I can do it too. Like that I think is very sweet and it speaks really well to Goku's character.
And I think this speaks a lot to Roshi's character this episode because we get a lot of people mentioning that he's been here before and he clearly has a really good relationship with these local people. Like the monk says, it's been a long time since you've been training. I think that really helps. Again, we sort of a lot about Roshi as the character I've turned around the most on in these episodes
Mm.
because in these he is a horrible pervert, but it is balanced by he clearly has this weight and gravitas to him and has all these relationships going on. Like people like the dude, and he's keen to make sure the kids are helping them out wherever he can. He seems to be mostly nice.
I think, you know, he's kind of like a Ben Kenobi figure. He's known around, you know, Tatooine without people knowing how much of a badass he really is. But we know because we've seen him put out a volcano with a Kamehameha wave. And we've seen him move an entire giant boulder with his bare hands. Yeah, he's not for somebody that's called the term turtle hermit. He is not as you know,
Hermity.
Hermitage. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, what's this? There's a hermitage? No, it's a location.
That's you mentioned that about us knowing what he does. I think that's what's interesting at these early episodes, these training episodes, is they've been very vague on what Roshi can do, which opens up a lot of fun comedy because you never entirely know if he's making things up or not. So he keeps like this training, you're not sure, is it him being serious or is he just wasting their time to keep them around? It's a nice dynamic that I think adds a lot to these episodes.
Actually, just speaking about dynamics in general, this is kind of like a wider Dragon Ball thing, but it's something that I really appreciate, especially in these early episodes. They are very fast paced. There is still a lot of plot happening, but we get these really fun and good character moments that I feel like a lot of more modern shonen kind of loses out on in sacrifice to the action and the plot, as opposed to here where like we can see the slowly building bond between Goku and Krillin. We can see this little found family that doesn't really pay off, but it's still there, like building itself around these ideas. And I think that that takes a lot more effort than we really give it credit for in like a modern anime setting. Like people kind of talk crap on Dragon Ball a lot in modern anime discourse because like, oh, it's too simple, it's too this, it's too that. But there's a lot of really clever and good writing stuff happening here.
It's amazing how natural it feels. I think that's what the thing that keeps grabbing me is that even though I'm watching this to analyze it, I will still fall into the fact of forgetting these people are characters and start reacting to them as if they were human, which is such a hard thing to pull off as a writer. It's so easy to overdo the emotion and end up making it feel sort of overly sugary and fake. It's too easy to skip right past it. But this hits that perfect thing where you can feel them building, but it doesn't feel like the show is telling you they're having a relationship. Feel something, feel something.
I think part of the thing that helps that is even though we've pivoted to a largely new supporting cast after the Pilaf saga, Toriyama still makes each of these characters very distinct, not just in the way they're drawn, but in the way that they act. Roshi, Launch isn't Bulma. Krellin isn't like anything like Oolong or certainly Yamcha. They're really building this out. Dragon Ball, certainly by Super, has got such a huge, memorable cast. And that starts here. We're even with this new supporting cast, we're starting to see it really gel and take shape.
Yeah, it's actually just so fun. But speaking of the old supporting cast,
Our boy has returned.
our boy has returned. And the whole moment with Yamcha just like getting to beat up a whole group of guys and just Oolong, Bulma, and Poir watching from outside gives me the impression that he just kind of broke in just to fight these guys.
Thank you. That's what I thought, because these clearly aren't like structured fights happening, and the confusion of all the people in the pile, it makes it sound like he just broke into a children's martial arts class and went, nope, Wolf Fang Fist.
He just walked in and started beating the crap out of guys. And I love that little moment with Poir and Bulma, where Poir's like, Yamcha's never gonna lose. And she's like, but Goku.
The with this and the sequences, this sequence is new to the anime. It's not in the manga. I had thought that it was a longer gap between the next time we saw Yamcha. Him and Bulma were only absent for 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So it's good to check in on him. The reminder, I guess, in as much as we would get reminders about Emperor Pilaf early in the Pilaf saga, here we are getting these reminders that like, oh, you're going to be fighting. Good chance you're going to be facing Yamcha. You won't, but there's a good chance you'll be facing Yamcha.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and there's these other martial artists. Like there's a Rocky knockoff you're going to be fighting in like 6 months. So good luck.
Oh yeah, I love, because also the bit where you see all the different world martial arts competitors, that's added for the anime. In the manga, Krillin just explains the concept. I love this collection of weirdos we built as jobbers here. Like we have only one of them will appear later, I think, because the guy with the mustache who talks an Italian accent for some reason.
Italian, it's like oscillates between Italian and Russian. It starts in here and then it starts to go up here. Like it shifts mid-sentence. We get a lot of weird Italian accents coming up
I really do think I think it's the Funimation actors in the booth for like these essential NPC characters that are just like what voice was I doing again?
He's only got two lines. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Keep
We're not
going. It doesn't
re-recording this.
matter.
Yeah.
He does appear. Goku will fight him in a bit for like once, for like 25 seconds. So enjoy him. But I like that we have all these weird monsters. We have a Bruce Lee knockoff. We have what's clearly Donkey Kong based on the arcade artwork with the boxing gloves and the pants. And we get another brilliant Toriyama reference. Bruce Lee gets burned by a giant lizard. And that's Baragon, everybody. Another kaiju introduced in Frankenstein versus Baragon. And just as an aside, if you've never seen Toho's kaiju Frankenstein films, they're nonsense.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, as is I've had the pleasure of talking to John Carpenter, and he loved a lot of that stuff. And he like one of the ones he singled out was War of the Gargantuas.
Oh, such a good film.
Yeah, with the like ape men that clearly are not God or King Kong fighting. Yeah. We need more kaiju-sized villains, and I guess we're about to get some, but we need more kaiju-sized villains in Dragon Ball.
Oh, yeah.
I just love how Toriyama will drop these references in wholesale, which is just something you wouldn't see these days. I guess because he's big enough and the film is old enough, he can kind of get away with it. But for me, it's just great. It's like, oh, that looks a bit like Baragon. Oh, it's doing the heat breath and the roar. No, it literally is Baragon. Okay.
I'm just going to throw it out here. Like, at certain points, Japanese anime is very loosely tied to copyright. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure exists. We need to just, like, again, when you have things named Killer Queen and stuff like that, that nobody's getting super litigious on it. But the thing I really appreciate, too, is when Roshi talks about the tournament, he says, you're not going to the tournament to win. You're going to learn something.
You're going to learn pain.
You're going to learn, and I really like that. I like that because, like, again, in other shonen, it'd be like, oh, we gotta win this, but this is just supposed to be a good learning experience, and I think that's actually really good to set as an expectation. As a teacher, that's a really good expectation to set.
Well, it's a good expectation.
Well, it's Goku's ethos. Moving on out, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna keep improving myself and testing that's it.
I think it's a good expectation to set for viewers as well, because it does open up a load of story options. Because usually when you get to a tournament in sort of a lot of modern shonen, it kind of feels inherently pointless because we know who's going to win. Or if they're not going to win, they're going to, shenanigans or a dusty finish in the last round. All the preliminaries just there to fill time. Here it does open up. Goku could crash out in the first round. The World Martial Arts Tournament may not be the main point of this arc. We could go anywhere here. And I really like that. And one thing you mentioned Goku's ethos, I really like Roshi's speech at the start to them, because it kind of acts as foreshadowing for the entire franchise up to Super. We don't learn martial arts to pick fights or impress girls. But he says, however, if someone threatens you or any other good innocent people with an ethical force, it is your duty to defend. That sums up Frieza, that sums up Vegeta, that sums up every arc, even in the new Super stuff. That's the Planet Eaters and all that kind of stuff. It's the exact same idea.
I mean, even Goku has that little speech he does after he turns Super Saiyan for the first time. And a lot, like, you can see the threads of that when he's like, I'm the hope of the universe. Like, he's not there just for the good fight with Frieza. He's there because he knows he has to defend some people. And some of that, I will say, in Super, especially when we talk about the Universal Tournament, that doesn't always hold true.
That gets a bit weird.
Weird. When I saw the Tournament of Power, I was like, yeah, okay, Goku messed up, but it's a really fun excuse for a Battle Royale tournament.
It is a fun excuse for a Battle Royale tournament. I do have to say, like, Dragon Ball, like, it really does set up the idea of the tournament arc, and the tournament arc then just becomes ubiquitous throughout battle anime, and I'm happy for it.
Yeah, certainly the series too. The 21st, we get 3 tournaments, not counting like Fortune Teller Baba's like pseudo tournament or whatever. We get 3 tournaments in Dragon Ball, and we're building. So it's almost like this is okay. Peel Off is like almost like a prologue. We're building to the end of the first act right now.
Yeah.
It's almost perfectly structured in that way.
It is really well structured.
I do have to ask you, gentlemen, what is your favorite tournament arc in anime?
In
Anime.
just in anime,
In anime, like what is your favorite tournament arc? Because you know these stuff informs a lot of tournament arcs. So I'm curious, like, what's your favorite tournament arc?
I mean, it'd be the one in Baki, just because it takes this concept and then turns it up to 1,000,000 and goes absolutely off the wall with it. I just love how unashamedly Baki, the guy who wrote Baki sat down and went, I'm gonna make this the weirdest thing I can make, and then never stopped trying.
You could argue Pokemon as a tournament anime, in a weird way. I would say my favorite though, outside of Dragon Ball, is because it's Dragon Ball. My favorite outside of Dragon Ball is G Gundam. Yeah.
That's a good one. For me, it's the Dark Tournament in Yu Yu Hakusho. Like, Dark Tournament is, I think, probably one of the best tournament arcs in anime.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like even things that aren't explicitly tournaments, like the Rurouni Kenshin stuff against Shishio, and
they're set up like a tournament.
They're structured, yeah. Like you have to get through these fights. It's like Bruce Lee's Game of Death. You have to get through these levels before you can fight Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny how many anime now that aren't sort of tournament based have effectively tournament arcs.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody does it. You got to give everybody a chance to shine at some point. And the fun thing about the Dragon Ball tournaments is that as we go through the Dragon Ball tournaments, because we're getting into the 21st one now, is they always have a point besides just being something to win, which I think is very fun. Like, there is a plot reason that we're here. It's not just to watch Goku punch a dude in the face. It is to watch Goku punch a dude in the face, and something else is going to happen.
Yeah, there's always a larger context and or threat going
Which
on.
I think is what you need to make a good tournament arc. I think, as I said earlier, if you have a tournament arc where it's clear that the hero is going to win every single time, just becomes spinning your wheels. It's what Pokemon did really well as well by having Ash lose constantly. It's what Dragon Ball will do by having Goku struggle. It means you do open up. You have to keep watching because he may not win. And maybe not winning will lead to a bigger plot than you would have had if he just got to hold the trophy for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's why, Street Fighter 2, you're not just in a tournament, and Bison's like the head of Shadaloo. He's the head of this whole crime syndicate that runs the world. Or in Mortal Kombat, it's a tournament, but it's for the fate of Earthrealm and Outworld and everything. You always have to have a little extra sauce to really get it to pop.
Talking of extra sauce, can I run something past you? Because this threw me when I watched it. The scene when they are being chased by the T-Rex at first, you see the side-on view of Roshi spinning his legs, like Sonic the Blooming Hedgehog. The background of that scene looks like a video. It looks like it's video footage, and I can't work out if it's really good animation or some weird rotoscoping. I can't find any information, but I'm really curious if you spotted that and what you think, because I watched that scene about 25 times to try and work it out.
See, I kind of noticed it looking weird too. I got distracted by the Jeff Goldblum reference that he had as a line. I got thoroughly distracted by that when he goes, must go faster. It wasn't you must go. It's like, no, you are. That is a Jeff Goldblum reference. I see you, Funimation. I'm clocking your references. But yeah, no, it definitely feels. It feels distinctly different from everything else, and this might be one of those cases where Toei was like, "We got to save some budget."
Yeah, rotoscope. Yeah,
even when they cut to sort of the other angle of it, the background is totally different. So something was going on there, and I can't put my finger on what exactly.
Listen, there's a tournament arc coming up. Toei Animation sometimes has to do some Hanna-Barbera stuff in order to keep the budget where it needs to be.
Especially as if you keep an eye on Roshi's house when he's walking around. There are a load of pictures of classic cars on Roshi's wall. And if you keep an eye on them, all of them are different and all of them are exquisitely drawn. So Toriyama's like, I like 30s race cars. I want to draw 30s race cars. Every wall on Roshi's house will have a different 1930s race car.
Yeah.
That's such a dad thing though. Like it's such it's Roshi sometimes has big divorced dad energy, and I kind of love that about him with like the girly mags and the classic cars and just being a little like funky like that. It's very I got divorced from my wife. I'm 47, like that kind of thing.
She took the turtles.
She took the turtles.
He's just been divorced for 400 years. He's been nursing a broken heart for 400 years. Just chilling out on an island wearing Hawaiian shirts and turtle shells, I guess.
When your
Hang out.
midlife crisis lasts 400 years.
But at least he has launched now, and everything's safe and good forever.
Safe
we'll
and
see.
good forever.
Speaking of
launches around, you're not going to run out of guns because that girl seems to stash them everywhere.
Under the pillow.
That would hurt. That would hurt. Like, that's not good for your neck there, launch.
So did like base form launch put that gun there? Or can we just believe now that Super Saiyan launch just can summon them from the ether? I cast gun, prepare to meet God.
It's unlimited blade works for 1980s firearms.
the capsule world.
I do quite like the idea. You mentioned that the blue-haired launch just accepts that at some point she's going to sneeze, so just makes life easier for her herself by just leaving her guns around because she's gonna be annoyed anyway. So I might as well hope she shoots less by just having the gun to hand.
Yeah, but before we sign off, any final thoughts on our milk running martial artists?
I have one. Early in the episode, you see Roshi getting changed in his Y fronts. That is an image I didn't need. But it does let us officially confirm that Roshi does skip leg day because he has legs like an insect, and it worries me.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even know how to follow that up because now I'm thinking about Roshi's Y fronts and my whole that shut down every logical part of my brain.
That's been cut for the cold opening.
Cut for the cold open. But I like these episodes a lot. I think the thing that I really do enjoy is when we get those little shots into Goku and Krillin's heads where Krillin, like, he starts cheating again, and then Goku's like, why can't I just drink the milk? Like, it's so funny getting their internal monologues as a result. And it's cute kid stuff. You're always going to get me with cute kid stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we're getting into the stuff that I love about this, and that's only going to increase next week because we're getting there. But yeah, this has been another installment of DBR on CBR Dragon Ball Rewatch. Watch along on Crunchyroll and Hulu. Read along on Viz Media. I'm Sam.
I'm Alyx.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you next time on Dragon Ball.